Diolch yn fawr iawn am ddod yma heno. Lovely to see you all. Lovely to have this fabulous crowd here in Wales to welcome our fantastic leader. A leader who really exemplifies what modern liberal democrats are about. A leader, ladies and gentlemen, who is going to be our next Prime Minister. Diolch yn fawr iawn am ddod yma I Gaerdydd heno. Over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Jane, and hello, Cardiff. Lovely I bod yma. So good to have a Welsh speaker in the parliamentary party, and it's really wonderful to be here in Wales, to see such a fantastic crowd, a wonderful team in this great cosy cafe on an evening which is perhaps par for the course for a winter election, but certainly a bit chillier than last time I was campaigning in Wales in that beautiful summer by-election in Brecon and Radnorshire. We have the great opportunity to use that victory that Jane so brilliantly secured with the help of so many people in this room and beyond it, to have a springboard for revitalisation of the Welsh Liberal Democrats. And I know that the people in this room will be absolutely part of that future success. I'm so enjoying being out and about on the campaign trail right across the country. And it's often those interactions with individuals that really bring issues home. So one of my favourite visits so far was in Somerset to a forest school nursery where I had the delight of learning how to toast marshmallows with 4-year-old Charlie and his friends. And obviously it was a fun thing to do. But the more serious undercurrent to it was sitting there with these young children who are learning day in, day out about the importance of our natural environment and looking after it and protecting it. And the concerns that they are starting to understand about the importance of protecting the environment are also articulated by their older brothers and sisters at schools and on the protest marches across the country, really clearly making their voices heard that we need to take action on the climate emergency. Because we know the scientists have told us there is not very much time left. 11 years we have, that our generations have, to avert catastrophic climate change. And we owe it to 4-year-old Charlie and his friends to make sure that we do that. And so I'm proud that our Liberal Democrat manifesto has the ambitious plan to tackle the climate emergency, that we put that front and centre of our manifesto, that we have the details, that we've done the work on what needs to happen to make it a reality, not just setting ambitious targets without any idea of how we'll reach them. Or I think about another visit I did, and it was teenagers I was talking with at a secondary school. And we were discussing the challenges that they face. And you know what? We could all learn a lot from teenagers about how they discuss mental health and the importance of good mental health for our wider well-being. Mm-hmm. But when you're sitting there and you're hearing from teenagers about the crises that they have faced, and that when they have asked for help, it has not been there. It's heartbreaking to hear their stories, absolutely heartbreaking. And you know, we can and we must do so much better. And that's why we've set out clear investment, £11 billion, which will obviously have Barnett consequentials that can be used here in Wales to make sure that people who need mental health support can get that help when they need it, with more talking therapies, with the action taken to improve the workforce in terms of filling those gaps which are all too prevalent. So being out and about on the campaign trail just increases my motivation to make sure that we can win in this election. And we know that the choice on offer between Labour and the Conservatives is nowhere near good enough for our country. We reject that false choice because we deserve better. All of our countrymen and women deserve better than the tired old two parties of Labour and the Conservatives that have failed time and time again. And we see now with Boris Johnson, we see his deal with Nigel Farage. We see President Donald Trump saying in an interview that he wanted them to come together. And for Boris Johnson, President Trump's wish is his command. You know, this is someone who, you know, struggles to follow basic instruction when it comes to, you know, write a letter. But President Trump says that, and immediately, there you go, they've done a deal. Who knows what he has promised Nigel Farage? But one thing is certain, that if Nigel Farage wants that Brexit to happen, that is not something that will be good for the future of our country. Our country deserves better than Nigel Farage and Boris Johnson and their dodgy deal. And then we have Jeremy Corbyn and his Labour Party, who have already let our country down time and time again on Brexit. You know, the 19 Labour MPs that voted for Boris's bad Brexit deal, when we as the Liberal Democrats were leading the People's Vote campaign, putting down amendments 17 times in Parliament, where were Labour? They were sitting on their hands, sometimes they were voting with the Conservatives, because that's what you get with Jeremy Corbyn's Labour Party. And, you know, some people say, you know, why are you not doing some kind of deal with Jeremy Corbyn? Why is there not a Remain alliance with Jeremy Corbyn? Well, I tell you what, Liberal Democrats are involved in a Remain alliance, Unite to Remain. And in this room, we have people who have selflessly agreed to stand down as part of that wider movement in the national interest. I commend them, because that is what we need. People to put aside narrow party interest and work in the national interest. And we might have our disagreements with Plaid Cymru on some things, or the Green Party on other things, but we do agree about stopping Brexit. And so we have worked together to create an unprecedented Unite to Remain agreement covering 60 seats across England and Wales. And yes, in the vast majority of those, it is the Liberal Democrats who are the biggest, strongest party of Remain, and those parties are standing aside for us. But that is also only possible because people in our party have done the right thing to stand aside here too. So I do thank you. And so the people that say, what about Labour being involved in a Remain alliance? Well, the clue is in the name. Labour made it very clear that they weren't interested in any alliances, and they don't want to remain. So how could they be involved in a Remain alliance? And that is how they have let down the people of Wales, the people of the rest of the United Kingdom. And I am determined as Liberal Democrat leader and as Liberal Democrat candidate for Prime Minister, that all of our 4 nations of our United Kingdom are valued and are important, and we are stronger when we work together. In the same way that we are stronger as the United Kingdom, working with our closest European neighbours, that we can better deal with our shared challenges, whether it's international crime or the threat of the climate emergency. It is so important that we can nurture our family of nations and protect our place in the European Union. At this point, there are many people who look at politics and frankly despair. They look at what is on offer from Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn, and they look at the cold, wet nights that they might be facing, and we can understand why people might not feel enthusiastic. But we Liberal Democrats are here to offer hope, because there is a better, brighter future that is possible. And we have set out our plan for the future. And this is all about the future. It is about 4-year-old Charlie and his friends. It's about those teenagers. And that's why we have said we will stop Brexit. We will make sure we have that close relationship with our European neighbours. And that will boost our economy and unlock £50 billion of a Remain bonus, that we can invest in our public services, that we can invest in employing more teachers so that the next generation has a better start in life, that we can invest in helping some of the most vulnerable in our society through welfare reforms, that we can invest in making sure that those teenagers get the mental health treatment that they need. And we have that ambitious plan to tackle the climate emergency, to deal with that huge threat that we all face and that young people today will bear the brunt of if we don't get it right. And I was delighted to announce at the weekend the other part of our plan for the future, which is to transform childcare, to improve the quality, to improve the status and the value placed on those people who are caring for our children, to make sure that we can give children the best start with high quality early years education, and that we can help families who are struggling with the unaffordable childcare costs and all of the negatives that has for those families, for their own family incomes, and actually for our wider economy because of the loss of talent within our economy. So that is our Liberal Democrat plan for the future, and I am excited to be taking that plan out on the streets of Wales, England, and across Scotland, because we have an amazing set of candidates who are taking that message out there. And I want to say many of you are in this room, and many of you are helping those candidates by knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, getting across the message on social media. And it is so important what you are all doing. Our party is on the up. We are winning again. We know what it felt like at the beginning of August. It's chillier now, but winning will be just as sweet, I promise you. So get out there, campaign hard, and let's win together.